320, and we'll take $20 off your order of $99 or more. Our cigar experts make sure you get the best deals on the best cigars, so every smoke is your best smoke. If you want an OK cigar, you go to your neighborhood OK cigar shop. If you want the best cigar, you go to Famous Smoke Shop. That's FamousSmoke.com. Get real cigars from a real cigar shop and save $20 right now. Ship fresh, direct to you. Go to FamousSmoke.com and use code 320. Military veterans and active duty service members, you can become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunities and a great lifestyle. People, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Individual freedom, the right to bear arms. Serious It's inDOCtriNATION.
Channel 125.
Conservative principles live here.
News this hour from townhall.com. Ahmed Thomason. Another of President Trump's nominees comes up for a vote today. It's a long-awaited vote on a high-profile nomination.
The Senate is set to vote on whether to confirm Kash Patel as FBI director. During his confirmation hearing, Patel says he has been taken out of context.
There will be no politicization at the FBI. There will be no retributive actions taken by any FBI should I be confirmed as the FBI director.
In various podcasts, Patel referred to law enforcement officials who investigated Trump as criminal gangsters. Republicans have complained about law enforcement bias during the Biden administration. Ed Donahue, Washington.
The bodies of 4 Israeli hostages held by Hamas have been released to the Red Cross in Gaza. The remains of a mother, her 2 young children, and a man in his 80s. President Trump suggests the nation's capital and its citizens deserve much better than what they've been getting. Forget about home rule.
I think we should take over Washington, D.C., make it safe.
President Trump throwing his support behind congressional efforts for a federal takeover of the nation's capital.
I think that we should run it strong, run it with law and order, make it absolutely flawlessly beautiful.
Congress already vets all D.C. laws and can outright overturn them. Ben Thomas, Washington.
One entity definitely not talking about cutting the cord. Meta.
Facebook and Instagram parent company expects the multi-billion-dollar project to be completed by the end of the decade. The more than 31,000-mile cable will connect the United States, India, Brazil, South Africa, and other regions. About 95% of all global internet traffic is delivered by undersea cables.
And that's correspondent Tasha Stevens reporting. On Wall Street, ahead of this morning's opening bell, stock futures are in the red. The Dow futures down 153 points. NASDAQ futures off 54. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Let me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too with their 3-week quick start kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF, 800-4-RELIEF for Relief Factor.
While Dennis Prager's recuperating, we know you've been missing your daily dose of Dennis. Right now, Pragertopia members can hear the best 2 hours of Dennis's favorite segments, like the Happiness Hour, Celebrity Guest Day, the Male-Female Hour, the Ultimate Issues Hour, and Open Lines.
Feel free to ask me anything about me, about you, about life.
Plus, hear lectures, guest interviews, his famous Torah teachings, and more. Sign up today at Pragertopia.com and get your daily dose of Dennis. That's Pragertopia.com.
A knife attack at a shopping center in the Czech Republic left 2 people dead.
Police say they detained a teenage suspect in connection with the stabbings in a store in a city east of Prague. Reports initially said the victims had been injured, but police later said both had died. A 16-year-old Czech national was detained by police near the scene shortly after the attack, where a knife was found nearby. The motive is not immediately known, and police say the situation is now under control with no danger to the public. I'm Naya Kim.
The Canadian government is moving ahead with a multi-billion-dollar plan to build a high-speed rail network between Quebec City and Toronto. The planned rail network will be 100% electric. It will span 620 miles. Trains could reach speeds of up to 187 miles per hour. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says the government will commit $2.74 billion over 6 years, starting in the current fiscal year, to iron out specifics before construction can begin. News and analysis, Town Hall.
Truth is the authority. All right, first thing, bring your A game because I'll take nothing less. We're going to have an open and honest discussion, but the facts matter. Let's talk about the people. It's common sense. It's principles and policies that work for everybody. I just want to talk about how to fix this country.
All right, some top news items on a Thursday. We expect the vote this morning to confirm Kash Patel as FBI director. That will bring that to you when it does happen. But that is expected this morning, so that's one of the most important Senate actions today. Keeping an eye on the Senate website. They convened for an SBA, the job that Linda McMahon had in the first round for President Trump as Trump 45. So there's that. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth stepping into the Pentagon. One of the points that was hotly debated and certainly brought up during his confirmation process was the failure of the Pentagon in 7 straight audits. He's ordered the Pentagon to review, to cut the budget, and of course DOGE now going into the Pentagon with the direction that Pete Hegseth has given, that they find $50 billion in cuts this year to fund the military priorities of the administration. And no, this is not about just randomly cutting Pentagon budgets. There's some things that are exempt from that, including southern border activities, for example, where the military's taken on a greater role, not just a support role and not just processing paperwork, and other areas as well. But again, failing 7 straight audits, and in his confirmation hearings, he talked about passing an audit, that it's important. You need to do that, as well as clean up the various process in the Pentagon. And I've got plenty of examples of that out there, including a story that we'll get into later on credit card. I don't know if I want to call it fraud yet, but certainly credit card misuse by the federal government, including the Pentagon. Remember, the biggest offender. Take it as the bluff, right? Especially for those of you in the military world who get this. Bottom line up front, that this taxpayer-funded slush has to stop. We have a federal government that misspends, air quotes, at least $100 billion each year. It's multi-trillion-dollar budget, and that's not to say we've accounted for all of it. But it's important that we identify these outlays, and that actually isn't the hardest point. The harder point is, what do you do about it, actually doing something about it? This brings to the forefront again the importance of DOGE in auditing, identifying, finding, and then the roles and responsibilities of different offices and agencies to do something about it. In one example, just the most recent example, recent fiscal year that ends in September, right? September 30th, 2024. Improper payments identified by agents so far, $149 billion in outlays, roughly 3.7% of payments totaling $4.1 trillion for the year. And that's what we know so far. This is not all of government spending. The Congressional Budget Office put their estimates, and I would say they are questionable at times, but their estimates that the spending last fiscal year, to be clear, was $6.75 trillion. And 3, 4, 5% of trillions of dollars is a significant amount of taxpayer dollars. And it's not as if
They shouldn't have done this all along. Those, call it whatever you want. Congress and its responsibility, its audit capabilities, inspector generals, and begin to understand more and more why the president fired a number of inspector generals, because whether they were given the boundaries, the strictures, the operating, the process, procedures, or not, they were failing to deliver the facts. Going back to 2002, it's 2024. Congress required that agencies estimate and report improper payments for each fiscal year. They added more to this law, again 2002, added more to it in 2010, 13, and 2020, right before the pandemic went in full force. And these are not deep audit requirements, which is a problem as well. These are estimates from statistical samples of payments that the agencies check, apparently or allegedly or supposedly in detail, using methods that would be approved by the inspector general for each agency. See my prior comment about why the president fired a number of inspector generals. Because they failed. Pay close attention. 24 agencies, cabinet departments, Social Security Administration, EPA, National Science Foundation, and more. 24 agencies. Some agencies don't have to submit these reports, including the CIA. Okay, understandable there. But the outlays by payment status, the improper spending, the waste, the percentages of accuracy is high. It's in the 95, 96% rate. Again, I will question that until we have a proper audit of the Inspector General's reports. After all, there are serious questions here, and it's billions and billions, not just a few $1 million here and there. And why does this waste continue? Because there are not enough efforts and not a good process to identify it completely, or as complete as possible, and then to recover. In 2024, agencies, I'm using that broader term, targeted about $33.5 billion in potentially recoverable, and only got about 2/3 of it, $22.6 billion, including a little bit from the previous years. So the wasteful spending is easy to identify. It isn't hard to find. It's what do we do about it, and how do we accurately identify it? I mentioned the Pentagon earlier, and the Secretary of Defense's demand that, one, they pass an audit. There's a good idea. That they begin to find areas to cut, that they get rid of waste. But DOGE has uncovered, broadly across government, 4 million government credit cards responsible for some 90 million individual transactions. 4.6 million active credit card accounts, 90 million unique transactions for some $40 billion in fiscal.
Icy and snowy. We had to brush some snow off this morning.
You can call it the chief offender.
That's okay though.
Leader, certainly not a good thing, but the DOD, the Department of Defense, is the highest offender with some 27.2 million transactions. And the number of individual accounts in the Department of Defense, 2.4 million. I want you to get that through your head. 2.4 million credit card accounts, individual accounts at Department of Defense, and 27.2 million transactions in fiscal year 24. There will be
bacon, sausage, egg, cheese, croissant.
Announced by tomorrow. I'll keep an eye on that to see what the changes are. And of course, the illicit, possibly illegal misappropriation of government funding It's not a new thing. Certainly
Looks like I'm going to be grandpa today.
For example, the $27 billion greenhouse gas.
We'll go in for a few hours, but it looks like it may be happening today. Wife's got to go meet a couple clients, and then we're going to fucking race up to Ann Arbor.
An undisclosed amount from this fund and then immediately launched a $55 million ad campaign for Kamala Harris 2024. By the way, the board tells you something about this. Randy Weingart, Stacey Abrams, Carrie Brown, Clinton's former APA chief, Ernest Moniz, Obama's energy secretary, and also former president of the Sierra Club.
So we'll see.
And the greenhouse.
But check on the progress when I get in.
Which is just another misappropriation for a bad idea by the leftists.
Yeah, Papa Doc.
Bureaucratic in government.
I know, it's from a stupid Eminem movie. Next, got my Papa hoodie on today because I was hoping. I got the call as I was leaving.
AFL-CIO Gavin Newsom's
Should be a while though, they said.
Remember his friend Phil Angelides?
Yeah, me too.
Obama's former transportation
Prayers
secretary,
to our gods.
climate advisor,
Whichever God you pick, please.
These are all players in this slush fund. At your expense.
If you don't pray, good thoughts.
Stacey Abrams, for her part, may be not the smartest or the brightest light on the tree, and certainly will never be governor in Georgia, but she has managed to
Thank you, Dirty.
profits to the slush fund that you're being taken from, that you're paying for. And in what is
Clarence,
reported by Doge and via Libs of TikTok.
You know, that school that he was talking about is actually a real school. It's a fucking super rich school.
$2 billion in taxpayer funds.
One of my classmates married a rich dude, and they sent their kids to that school.
Again, close ties to Stacey Abrams. They had $100 in the bank that were a few months old, but yet they got a $2 billion grant to do it. Their partnerships with other nonprofits founded by Stacey Abrams.
When I get stopped, I'll show you guys my hoodie.
Senior Council for America organization and its coalition of groups including, of course, the aforementioned powerful communities.
These people don't know how to merge. You speed up to merge. You don't make me adjust.
Doge is bringing the details. We are bringing the results.
Fucking dumbass. And I will, because you're fucking
for many who are paying
stupid.
attention why this administration has dug into a true audit of where your tax dollars are going, including to illegal alien with spending.
I'll send some of the videos I took from last night's rock orchestra. It was pretty fucking awesome. I'll send it to you on the telly. They're dirty.
In focus. That's the first one. 866-95-PATRIOT-957-2874. Congressman.
Oh yeah, I know. I drive enough, I know.
10th District will join me next. All right, elections behind this. My good friend, Fox Business host Charles Miller, does believe that President Trump's pro-business agenda is going to create huge opportunities in the stock market. So grab your cell phone, text my name
Oh,
to 505
shit.
505. You get a text.
There you go.
access
No
to
signal.
free
Just pull out of the
copies
lane as everybody else is almost stopping.
a must read for any one of you.
Yes.
The best returns in today's market.
And then he popped back in up there.
Hire and invest on your own through a broker or in your company. Okay. You need to read his book and see the results his strategies deliver. And right now, Charles will cover the $29.95 cost of the book. Give you, my
Tech
loyal
stuff
listeners,
fixed.
a
If you need any help, let me know, man.
We could be in for a whole new cycle of prosperity in the Trump administration. So you want to settle for what the market gives you or be in control of what you take from it. Unbreakable Investor can help you in control of a better financial future and retirement. Now, I have a copy, and believe me, you need his book. So grab your phone, text David to 505-505 again. Text David to 505-505.
The will count majority.
Coming up right after the David Webb Show, we'll talk to Grover Norquist, founder and president of Americans for Tax Reform. And we've got some interviews I recorded at the White House yesterday.
Well, there may be some boring moments there. You know how the hospitals get.
At noon East
after the David Webb Show on SiriusXM Patriot.
If you're a business owner with salespeople, how in the world could you say no to this offer? The top 20% of your salespeople close 80% of the business. 80% of all sales are closed.
Morning, unindoctrinated.
And 83% of all salespeople don't even ask for the sale once. Did you know that 90%?
Yeah, we got another inch over the weekend. Or I mean overnight.
How many sales are being lost each month? It's guaranteed. This could double, even triple your company's sales. This video is closing, handling objections, and more. Just call us and leave us a voicemail and email address, and we'll send you this amazing video for free. Call 800-500-8320. This is how to close from A to Z for any product or service, regardless of industry, whether you sell face-to-face or
I will once I get merged in out from behind this stupid cement truck.
800-8320. Paid for by Power Sales University. Military veterans and active duty service members. You can
Shitty
become a
signal here,
certified
too.
cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, Skill Bridge.
So yeah, and it looks like I'm going to be grandpa today. We'll go take care of a few things at the office, then go pick up the wife, and we're going to head up to Ann Arbor. I don't know if the signal's working. It says unstable.
Protect our savings and hold on to wealth we can pass down gets harder every day. That's why Preserve Gold is giving away no cost, no obligation free wealth protection guide to help protect the retirement of countless Americans who are trading intangible assets like physical gold and silver. All you need to do is text the word radio to 50505. Learn how you can put physical gold and silver into an IRA, 401k, and you can purchase precious metals for delivery.
Little girl.
Just text radio to 50505 to receive this exclusive offer. Preserve
Thank you.
Gold has hundreds of 5-star reviews and millions of dollars in trusted transactions with satisfied clients. In addition to their free guide, you can also get up to $15,000 in free gold and silver with a qualified purchase. Text radio to 50505.
Well, I woke up
This exclusive offer from Preserve Gold today.
in not the best of moods because our oldest dog is sick, but this definitely makes me feel better too. Oh yeah.
Joining me now, the congressman from North Carolina's 10th district, Matt Harrigan. Congressman, good morning. Good to have you here. Good morning. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on. Let's dive in. Pete Hegseth, now the Secretary of Defense, and the Pentagon. And in the monologue, I talked about some of the really egregious examples of what's going on inside the Pentagon, just related to...
You know how you get over in that lane? You go around that truck and then get over in that lane, dumbass. There you go. Or you wait till he merges into his other one.
27.2 million transactions and 2.4 million individual accounts. The Pentagon hasn't passed an audit 7 in a row. They failed 7 audits in a row. The SecDef now wants them to look for the necessary cuts to get about $50 billion in cut to not cut
I am Papa,
programs. Some would say they're just going to cut wildly.
and she's Oma, O-M-A, Oma.
What needs to be done here? Because national security, the Pentagon, the cleanup,
I got my Papa hoodie on.
effort going to the Pentagon, all of this.
I'll show it to you guys when I get to the office. I don't want to pull it off the mount while I'm driving on this, in these shitty roads. Look it up. It's Grandma, Scandinavian Grandma. It's more of a German heritage, but that's what she is. So. I forgot you're having tech issues. Yeah, it's Grandma. Yeah, you're right. I should have just said it. There's lots of different names for it in the heritage, but she didn't like a lot of them. But she likes Oma,
And I think that you're seeing this play out.
so that's what she picked. She's got her shirt on too.
We're not going after things that people are legitimately entitled to nowadays. Actually need real competent measures. This is all about fraud-based abuse, and you are going to find this everywhere you look.
There's a role for Congress here as well, and it started in 2002 when Congress required each.
But yeah, that rock orchestra was pretty badass last night. I'll upload some videos to both committees' tele group.
Tracks and the like are covered under that, not just payments by HHS, Medicaid, all the different programs that are out there. That's included. Pentagon has obviously failed here because they have failed on it, and the issue of what are the inspector generals actually doing. So Congress has a role to demand this. You're on House Armed Services Committee, and what about the Pentagon's IGs?
Yeah, I think there's no question that there's been broad systemic failure around government when it comes to the concept of accountability. And truly, David, when I think DOJ is done with this, I think that you are going to have a legitimate question of what has everybody been doing in government for the last 6 years, for the last 10 years, 20 years, those who've been in government for 30 years. We get caught up in the day-to-day talking points, but if we don't get the standard meat and potatoes out of the accountability process that we should be getting, I think there's just going to be broad questions of what have people been doing for the last 20 years as all of this has been happening. The problems have metastasized and have resulted in a government budget that is running a $1.8 trillion a year deficit and has built up a $36.3 trillion national debt. It's just not acceptable. That accountability has not been met.
Let's dig a little further into the responsibilities of House Armed Services Committee. And you have the Subcommittee of Readiness, military personnel.
Go through a lot of washer fluid these types of days.
All important components of and the responsibilities of the services. So, from the inside the committee view, what
there's a
steps
piggy up ahead.
taken to assist the SecDef to work in concert with them, or to work, and also to work in concert with DOJ to make sure that this is one cleaned up, that DOD, that the Pentagon can pass an audit, and that we can have a better and more efficient procurement and readiness structure for our military.
Look, I think that everybody is perfectly aligned in terms of accomplishing President Trump's directive to clean up fraud-based abuse. Nobody wants to see that happen. I think that everybody across the committee is committed to making sure that we are spending taxpayer dollars efficiently and that we're spending them in accordance with directives of how that money ought to be utilized from executive.
Ooh, man, how do you end up on a guardrail like that? Ooh.
There are concerns with
Man.
broad-based cuts that come down to the number, right?
See, that's what they should be out here for, that type of stuff. Not fucking road pirating.
Some of the biggest mistakes that our political class.
That's the only reason they should be out here.
Something to a number of times, something to a date.
Protect the accident scene.
So I think that what we need to do in this process in terms of providing oversight from a congressional perspective is that we need to make sure that those two things are aligned. That what the executive branch is doing and what the Department of Defense is doing are aligned to strategic objectives and not just to a number that is kind of tossed out there. Because we also have reality here, which is we are 36.3 trillion in debt. We are running a $1.8 trillion a year deficit. That has to go away. It is our greatest national security concern that we have because
Well, those hearts are going to get broken no matter what, but yeah.
we are in deep trouble in our nation.
I think teach them what matters.
Turns into a place that we would not recognize.
Teach them what matters.
We're also understanding that we are spending a historic low on defense right now as a percentage of our gross domestic product. It is at 2.9%. It has never been
Hollywood Casino.
Let's go to something that is even in your wheelhouse and not often mentioned. You're a military academy graduate. You have a degree in nuclear engineering. And in the Biden era, we saw all of this, I don't even know what to put it, this ridiculous shift to other forms of energy, whether it was in the Navy.
Yeah, I know. Watch for snipers.
Our military electric vehicles that I couldn't quite understand, and more. But energy matters, right? Energy drives ships, drives tanks, drives equipment, drives installations, you name it. And what does the military need to do now to be ready and to have good energy source and resource and deployable ability?
I'm just going to watch for the idiots on the road around me here.
I think there's no question.
I think that's more important.
In our minds, that energy security is national security, and the only thing that this country needs to be focused on is energy dominance. If you look at the basic building blocks of our civilization, the cheap and ubiquitous access to energy is one of the key building blocks that enable not only our national defense, but also the greater market economy, right? As energy prices drop, prices for everything else drops, because that's the baseline of what it takes to operate a business, whether that is in the business of providing agriculture.
Yes, but they defended it.
Transporting things, whether that's in the business of manufacturing things in this country. So I think at the end of the day,
Stalingrad did not fall.
That all throughout human history, energy sources have never been subtractive. They have always been additive. Peak coal was back in 1963. And today,
What do you think would have happened if it would have fallen, man? What the devastation that would have happened? Yeah, it fucking sucks that all those people died defending it. Fucking.
The story of human history is we always need more energy. We don't need less. So I think that President Trump is on the right track. Congress is on the right track of unleashing American energy sources wherever they can be found. And as long as they can stand on their own without government subsidization.
I don't know either, but I do know what happened to all the other Eastern countries and cities that they went through.
Congressman Harrigan, but I'm going
Complete devastation.
into the conversation in this sense. Former Army Secretary Ryan McCarthy.
Do I believe that many people died in the H word? No, I don't even think it was. I think it was a much smaller fraction of that number, but it did happen.
Of our military also includes the R&D that gets you there. There also has
H
to be
number,
a business-like
H
focus
letter.
on doing this, because there's so much waste, and whether it goes to direct fraud or not, but so much waste in this process. What's needed now?
Look, I think that it just comes down to
Oh, it was.
That is exactly what everybody's talking
A lot of
about.
piss poor decisions by
that I really enjoy the committee.
the Fuhrer. Fucked them over. If he'd taken on one at a time, we'd probably all be speaking German.
As well as private sector spending across the research and development paradigm, it is the same size as the Department of Defense. So between the two committees I'm on, about $900 million apiece worth of spend out of our $700 trillion budget. It's incredibly relevant.
Hitler bad though. Hitler bad.
I think that the biggest issue that we have, and this came about in a committee hearing that we had in Science, Space, and Technology the other day. We had the directors of the 4 largest national laboratories in this country testifying before us. And I asked the question
At gunpoint.
visiting researchers.
Hey, I'm half Swedish, half Finnish. The Finnish fought off. They've never been conquered. They fought off the Rus. The Germans left them alone. Yeah, the Swedes, they always capitulate. They're like French.
And I think everybody understands at this point that the loss of intellectual property due to theft, both throughout our Department of Defense, as well as the technology.
Reindeer raising Laplanders.
Are one of the greatest areas of waste that we have, because we're simply just taking all of the investment that we've made as citizens in the United States, and we're allowing that to be stolen. There is no reason that anyone who's a citizen of China
My grandma actually showed me pictures of the reindeer herds that she used to take care of.
Yeah, I mean, fair to say that
Well,
China used
that
to
her
steal and they
mother
steal,
used to
but
take care of.
why do they have to steal when
My grandmother was born here in the U.S., but her mother was born in Finland.
No sense at all. Congressman, I really appreciate the conversation, the information as well. There's a lot of work to do. This is a national security issue.
Yeah, for what they've done. Man, this guy fucking parks like a fucking moron.
To our allies around the world. Thank you very much.
I'll have to move over. You know what? I'm just going to take one of these. All these people are parked like morons.
Congressman Pat Harrigan.
I know it's hard to see the lines, but they're there.
Again, thank you, Congressman. 866-95-PATRIOT-957-2874. Let's see, who do we have here in this is
I don't know. It says,
Gene, go ahead.
there it is. All right, here's the shirt.
Defense Donald Rumsfeld on the day before 9/11 at a press briefing or a press conference at the Pentagon,
Papa.
saying that the Department of Defense had lost control.
All right, guys. I may go live for a little bit on the desktop. We'll see how busy it is in there. I got a lot to get done. So if not, we'll probably, when I pick up the wife at the house, we'll probably do a quick stream on the way up to Ann Arbor. Exciting. Love you guys. Peace. Thanks for riding with me.